So today on Gameplay and Go, we're going to be discussing Star Wars games. We've all played them, some good, some bad.
I'm laughing because you'd be a Wookiee. That's funny. I'm like Han Solo. You're my Chewbacca.
Han Solo?
Yeah.
No, you're the guy that has the ham face.
You're the guy who says, "You'll be dead."
You're Porkins.
You're that freaking thing in the cantina that's got the obvious plastic eyes. It's all shining, doesn't even have eyelids on it. What was that character's name? Exactly, that's you. Nobody cares.
Look, he's angry.
You're Jar Jar.
Ooh. My earliest gaming memory with the Star Wars game would be the Star Wars Empire Strikes Back on the 2600. I was really young when I played this. I just remember you're flying around in what's supposed to be a snow speeder, and the AT-ATs are on the ground just walking. You're supposed to shoot the AT-ATs, and I believe that they had the like missile turrets, the gun turrets coming out of the snow. I honestly have not played this since I was a child, but that would be my earliest Star Wars gaming memory.
Very simplistic. I never played it as a kid. I've played it recently, and I will say this: the sound is really cool. It's one thing I love about 2600 games is the sound. Anyway, my first time I ever played a Star Wars game was this little, I don't know if you'd call it a gem. I don't think some people would. Star Wars on NES. And we never owned it, but I did rent it. And the thing about this game is that it's really hard once you get to the Death Star. I can regularly get to the Death Star, and it's pretty easy up until then, in my opinion. But once you get to the Death Star, it's like being in a rat in a maze. It's like death, get lost, get lost, death, get lost.
So in other words, the game is pretty awesome, is what you're saying.
It's awesome. No, the graphics are good, the sound's good. I actually like the game. I just can't get past the interior of the Death Star. So I've never played the trench run. I've never beaten the game, but it's okay. I like it.
That's what's good about games of yesteryear. They were challenging. I think a lot more challenging than today's games, but that's a completely different topic.
So after that, of course, Empire Strikes Back comes out. I think about a year later. Rented it. Loved it because I think my favorite moment in any Star Wars movie was the Hoth scene, and to get to play as the snow speeder and take out some AT-ATs was awesome. And,
what was the name of the guy that Luke let die? Because he's selfish bastard, just saved himself. All right, you passed us.
Yeah,
a little trivia there.
Of course. The gameplay in this is actually really different from the first Star Wars game. Just the physics of the how you jump and the character designs. I mean, it's all different. It's almost like it was developed by two different companies as this is the first one. I don't know if that's true or not. No research. We don't research things here. Because this is a video game memory show, not a review show.
Exactly.
So,
we know Johnny and Rob do it better. So
yeah, do something. My memories with this is relatively okay. I mean, I was such a huge Star Wars fan. You probably could have, crapped at Star Wars on a plate, and I would have played it and thought it was awesome. I like this from the standpoint it's very nostalgic for me, just simply for the snow speeder scene, the Hoth battle. So.
Let's move on to the next console up would be Super Nintendo. Now, as I've stated before, I did not have a lot of experience with Super Nintendo growing up. A couple of my brothers were very much Super Nintendo hogs, so I was able to get the Genesis all to myself, basically. And I have zero experience with any Star Wars game on a 16-bit console because I didn't play the Super Nintendo and there were none on the Sega Genesis. And we were too poor for cool consoles like Jaguar and you know, 3DI and 3DI and CDI, 3DO. You know what I fucking mean. And a hybrid.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna hand this one over to Billy over here.
They never came out with a Return of the Jedi on NES, and I was anticipating one coming out. It never did. But then I started reading Nintendo Power that they were going to be coming out with a Super Star Wars on the Super Nintendo. And I went and I had to get it for Christmas. I remember opening this game up. My grandparents tricked me. They got a box and filled it up with wood. And I think, oh, you got wood for Christmas. I was like, oh, I got wood for Christmas. But lo and behold, the game was at the bottom of the stack of wood. And I think I missed the rest of the Christmas party because I went in and immediately started playing it. It's a very hard game. It took me a while before I beat it, but I actually ended up beating it. But still a great game. I actually have this factory sealed.
Hey, now look at me.
Look at that.
So if I've never played Super Star Wars before,
yeah,
like you had to convince me, what would be like? Okay, this and that. I mean,
okay,
this level, this happens, whatever. What
okay,
would be
okay.
like?
This game, it's if you're a Star Wars fan, you got to definitely check it out. It's got great graphics. Some of the best graphics on the Super Nintendo, in my opinion. The sound, the music, it's all good. The gameplay is good too. It's just, I think people are kind of turned off by the difficulty of it. Yes, it's a hard game, but so what? I mean, consider it a challenge, you know?
Now, let me ask you this too, because like I said, I've never played, and for those out there who haven't, how does this go along with the movie?
Yes, it does. It goes along with the movie. It plays scene by scene. You know, obviously you can't do exactly like the movie.
Of course.
You have to video game-ize it, you know?
Would you say the same with the Super Empire Strikes Back?
Well, Empire Strikes Back was another one. I remember seeing this one in Nintendo Power. Recurring theme, obviously, here. That's how I got my video game information. And so when I saw that this was coming out, I think it was the next Christmas, right after I got this one, I had to get Empire Strikes Back. And same story. You know, this game is I think probably my favorite in the series. It's just as hard as this one, but it's just as fulfilling. It's just as great in my opinion. The Hoth battle was finally, you know, up until that point, you know, the Hoth battle on the NES version was two-dimensional, obviously because of limitations of the NES hardware. Whereas this, we finally got a 3D version of the Hoth battle. You know, you actually felt immense. You felt like you were a part, actually taking place, you know, in the actual Hoth battle in the movie, which was really cool.
Hey, what's up? It's pretty cool. I've never been down here before. I want to interject a little something here. There's a lot more to this whole thing than I explained in the first recording of this. I think we can all agree that this scene right here is pretty cool. It's not bad. I mean, it was a technological achievement for the Super Nintendo. You know, we've never gotten a Hoth scene in 3D before, thanks Mode 7. But I gotta say, when I first popped this in as a kid, I was a little underwhelmed. I was a little disappointed, and I think that's because I had it played up in my head way too much. I mean, you gotta think, I was sitting here looking at this spread. Yeah, this spread right here on the Super Empire Strikes Back. They did a little, you know, behind the scenes making of thing. And this picture right here, this particular picture, I remember looking at it and thinking this almost looks like it's real. Like you're actually in a snow speeder, like it's from the freaking movie. So I got the game on Christmas. I popped the sucker in and I just blew through the first few stages. I had to get to the Hoth scene. That was it for me. I finally got there. And I was like, what is this? I'm not going to say disappointed, but I was a bit let down. I mean, it was still cool. It was still Super Empire Strikes Back. I still loved the game, and I still thought the stage was cool. But I was just kind of like, while playing it because, again, I had it so played up in my head that nothing could have met those expectations. Well, see you later.
The final battle with Darth Vader was pretty epic. I think up until that point it was the most epic battle with a boss I'd ever encountered because it takes a while. You fight them in different locations. You know, it actually takes a while to beat them, and it was pretty intense. I remember when I beat it the first time, I was ecstatic.
So would you say that a good convincing, I guess, statement to someone like me who's never played them, maybe on the fence about it, is that these are actually really good movie-to-game adaptations?
There's some of the best licensed game. There are so many licensed games that just ended up being like crap. These are two licensed games that I think live up to the name Star Wars. In my opinion, they're some of the best Star Wars games out there. Now, like I said, they're hard, but so what? Who cares? Quit being a baby, get the games, and try them out. Now, I never actually owned Return of the Jedi. I ended up renting it for whatever reason.
Another theme with you renting.
Yeah, renting. I rented so many different games, man. But I never owned it. But it falls right in line with the rest of them. And this is the only one in the series I never actually ended up beating, because that last scene where you're actually going into the Death Star and trying to destroy it is the most brutal, in my opinion, the most brutal level of any of these games, and I never actually got past that. And the great thing about this one is you get to play as Leia in the gold bikini.
Hey now,
Yeah.
I'm in. I'm taking this home with me.
You stole my other. That's what I remember this now. You stole my. Melvor stole my cover for the original, and I had to print out the. What the? Where's my game?
There's no game in here.
What in the world?